Radio अपना Frankfurt दिल से कहता है.
Hello everyone, I'm Raman from Apna Frankfurt and today we are back with a very special discussion. Well, a big topic for discussion today. As big as European Union. Yes, we are going to talk about European Union today and we have special guests with us who are going to share their opinions about European Union with us. Well, European Union, also known as EU. So before we jump into the key questions, let me introduce our guest with you today. We have Mr. Klaus Klipp. He is the chairperson at organization Europa Union Deutschland in Frankfurt. Thank you, Mr. Klaus, for taking out the time.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
So we also have Mr. Kamal Vatsain. He's on the advisory board of Friends of India Frankfurt and Team India and Friends. And he's also the president of Hessen Cricket Association in Frankfurt. Thank you, Kamal, for taking out the time.
Hello, everybody. Thanks, Raman.
Right. So before we jump into the key question, a little background to Europa Union Deutschland as an organization. Europa Union Deutschland is an NGO. The history of pushing for one Europe as a federal state and think that this issue is more relevant than ever now. Around 17,000 members are networked in 15 state associations, and Europa Union Deutschland has partner organizations in over 30 European countries. Now, with this, let us jump into some key questions. Well, European Union, why do we need such an organization? I think the world can run without EU as well, isn't it? So why we need an organization like European Union? With this, I would like to invite Klaus to share his opinion on this.
Raman, the world may be able to run without European Union, but Europe wouldn't be able to do this. You know the European history with wars. There has been an effort after the First World War to create something like a European Union. So we have peace here in Europe. That didn't work. It ended up in the Second World War. And after the Second World War, people started again. And what we have today as European Union with those 27 member states basically is coming from that idea where people said, okay, we have to come together and we have to create an area where we can make business together, where we have a life that is full of peace. So for Europe, for the European countries, it wouldn't be possible to do without it wouldn't be possible to do this without European Union.
Yeah.
And it's now very much integrated, and we see in the context with United Kingdom who try to get out, how integrated European Union now is. It's almost like one big country, like one state, you know. That's why we also argue we need to have a federal Europe, something like United States, or even look at India. You are also a big federal state, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you're right. I mean, somewhere all the member states, they come together. If we can align them towards one viewpoint or one vision, of course, it can turn into a very big power, so to say. Yeah. With this now, let me call in Kamal here. Kamal, your opinion on EU?
I think I really would like to build on what Klaus has said. Very interesting point. EU is existing to unite all the European countries. And if you ask me, also being from other countries like United States, India, we are inspired what has been done. Yeah, what has been done in EU with all the Schengen state concept later on, and free trade, free movement around, and so on. If the world can work this way, this would be amazing, honestly, because all the right things need to move. They need to go ahead. They need to. We need to have more better trade, reach the food to reach everybody else in the world. Easy accessibility to education, easy accessibility to technology, which in my view, EU has done a good job. Definitely, India is a very good example, as Klaus was mentioning, and also United States. I think the more we are together, the more possibilities exist. So I think also in European Union, if you ask me, during the current times when there was an issue, slowly people started to realize how can we help more Italy, who was facing the problem. I think we will talk about it later. But I think just to touch a point, that all the countries started to realize what can we do better? How can we support each other? This is very interesting aspect of EU. Yeah. I totally build on the Klaus comment here, and I think it's very nice to have and get inspired from EU to all of the rest of the world too.
For sure. I mean, definitely EU has its advantages as well. I mean, with that, let's move on to the next point here now. Now, Germany known for its standardization. Yeah, everything is standard and helps a lot as well. I have to admit to that. Now, but we see different organizations. We have EU, we have Eurozone, and we even have Schengen zone. Yeah, and I understand it's not the same. So maybe you can help our viewers and listeners here to know the difference between them, and why do we need these three entities? Why cannot we have one unified entity as Europa Union?
Honestly, from our point of view, we would like to have one entity because it's really confusing. True,
Yeah.
right? And so when we look why we don't have it like this, it has to do with the national governments, which are the member governments of European Union. And some of them have been saying, okay, we would like to be part of Eurozone. We would like to have the euro as a currency, okay? And that has been discussed in countries. There has been, I think in Denmark, there was even a poll with the citizens and they said, no, we want to keep our old Danish krona, so they are not part of it, okay? And with Schengen, same thing. It's on the level of the national governments, people have been discussing the different issues, and now there are some areas where everybody is together, and then there are some areas that apply only for normally a big number of countries with few exceptions, because almost everybody is in Schengen with few exceptions, almost everybody is in the Eurozone with few exceptions, yeah. By the way, this is a point that is interesting also with your first question. Why do we need something like European Union? The idea behind that, at one point in history, people were saying, why do we have different national governments? Why don't we have like a global world governance? Why is that not possible? Why do we have to have different national governments? Nation states, national governments, they exist only since Napoleon. And that's a little bit more than 200 years ago when he started to manage a country like one entity, organizing it in a way of one country. Before that did not exist, before people didn't have passports, okay? Yeah. So the question is that not something that we can overcome? And why don't we have peace globally and one global governance? And European Union is kind of, let's say from the idea, it's kind of a way to get there.
Yeah. No, I mean, thank you for sharing your opinion there. No, I mean, I see. Okay, maybe we are on the path of having one unified entity where we will merge somewhere in the future. EU as being the primary entity, where Eurozone is also same as what EU definition is. Even the Schengen definition is same. Let's hope that that happens somewhere in the future. But I see that we are on the path there. Yeah.
Okay. Just to say, maybe the end is not the Europa Union. Yeah. Maybe the end is global union. But how much time will it take? Yeah. I mean, that's a point. How much time will it take? Definitely, it's somewhere to do between benefits versus the responsibility. Every country has to do their homework. Then they have to do the homework as part of Europa Union. Then they have to do part of their global union. Yeah, global unions are failing nowadays, as you see with we hear about WHO right now, because so many issues happened and we still had no control. It still spread. The issue still spread. Yeah, but it should be other way around. The solutions should spread, but solutions are not spread. Yeah.
So thank you for sharing your opinion on here. So let's head towards the next question now. EU in coronavirus times. Although Europe is one, well, we see that each member state took decisions more or less independently. Macron declared a war against coronavirus in France. Italy made its own experience, and Germany called it more of a restriction than a war. And now we also experience the same when we talk about opening the borders. Every member state goes its own way. So is it really a union? I mean, are we really showcasing that solidarity here?
I think this is a good example that shows why we do need a union, because nation states tend to act in such a way where they put the borders up, first of all. And in reality, when you look into the scientific evidence, the national borders are not going to stop the virus, okay? What could stop the virus is maybe close down certain areas where there is a lot of virus, like for example, in this German county of Heinsberg, near Cologne, where it started, okay? And to make measures there, but not to close a national border. That is kind of Stone Age way of reacting. Okay, and I'm a bit shocked about that. I think everybody was shocked. I think even the national governments afterwards were shocked what they had been doing. And I think there's another point that people don't know about. As early as about 9th of January, in the first or second week of January, when people came back from Christmas holiday, European Union invited the national health experts from all the member states to come together and to decide whether they should not start buying the protective material and all of the stuff that is needed in the upcoming pandemic situation. Okay. And European Union does not have so-called competence, so they have no laws in that area. They cannot decide people. They cannot tell national governments what to do, but they can coordinate. So they invited and they said, let's talk to each other. Let's see how we can cooperate and how we can manage this crisis that is coming up. And all national governments, everybody, okay, including Italy, including Spain, including United Kingdom, including Germany, all of them, they said, no, we don't need that. We are well prepared. We have all the material that we need. We don't need to coordinate here. We are very well prepared. Everything is okay. We will have no problems. And from the side of European Union, there is like a disease control center, which is basically a scientific body and has no real other role, because they knew what was coming up. They pressed again and again, and they invited again to come and meet in Brussels. And then in late January and February, people started to meet. Also the diplomats in the Council of the European Union, which is part of the Union there, direct representatives of the governments, they would meet and they would talk to each other. And again they would say, oh no, we don't need anything. We're very well prepared. Everything is working very well. They didn't want to coordinate because they were thinking, oh, we are so great. We are the best. You know, this is typical for, you know, you see that again and again everywhere in the world, honestly, with national governments, that they think they are really great. They are the best and so on. And it's kind of
we have seen with America as well happening the same way, right? Yeah.
It's kind of a weird behavior, okay?
Yeah.
But you think that it's over, we have overcome that, but it's life. And then later people started coordinating, okay? In the meantime, European Commission is coordinating the buying of the protection material for the hospital workers, and they did the calls for the tenders for the breathing machinery and so on and so on. Yeah. Now there's a lot of stuff going on this level. Now they have put together the effort to find the vaccination. They coordinate the effort on vaccination and things like that. And they have been involved in coordinating something for an app, to find the app. So now it works much better. And then also national governments started to help each other, take patients from the other countries and so on and so on. But really that took time.
No, thank you. Thank you for sharing. But I mean, the fact remains that, yeah, every country made their own experience here. Of course, now we see some coordinated efforts where countries are not talking to each other. But still, when you look at the fact that every country is again going the old way of deciding, no, we need tourism, we are going to open up the borders and things, you know, maybe a little bit more coordination there would be also helpful. With this, moving towards Kamalji. Kamalji, would you like to add something?
Just one comment. I think Klaus explained all the situation and how it worked now and how it's working. Just one point which I would like to. I was actually a bit differ on the Klaus one point about the locking the borders. Yeah, I think the lockdown was necessary in my view everywhere in the world. Yeah, so but the management of lockdown was not proper everywhere in the world, including also maybe in Europe on the Italian border and so on, and other countries as well. So what I really feel, the harsh step some governments took was good. Definitely, it's not giving a correct picture that people now feel also that it was overdue because they did not knew how to come out of it. Yeah, so it took a long time to come out of it. But in my view, what has happened in America is a very good example that people took it very late. They took very late decisions on lockdown and such things, and they are suffering. The count is really huge what America is facing because of this, because America is a big country. You can travel easily. You have no lockdowns. It was not easy to put. In my view, EU also did something good by locking, but there could have been a better way of managing it. Yeah, so I think we're still learning. We're still learning.
And I mean, I would like to add one point here from my side. I think medical facilities, the level of medical facilities in every European nation is at a different level, so to say. Yeah. And when you are responsible for the citizens of your own country, yeah, locking the borders at least give you that fixed parameter. Okay, these are the people with whom we are dealing at the moment, and we need to take care of our citizens here. So I think again, spreading it across a border would have been more catastrophic for Europe altogether. So I think there the locking down also, according to me, was actually a very nice step. Now, with that, let's move towards the next question. Well, imagine a group of friends having party every now and then, yeah, and where everybody comes and they have fun, they enjoy together. But it is always only 2 or 3 members of that party that pay the bill at the end whenever something goes wrong. Well, the question is, does it sound something similar to EU here, or how fair is it according to you? What is your opinion on this question?
Okay, so I mean, it's not 1 or 2 friends, it's more that pay. Okay,
Yes.
by far the biggest contributor is Germany, and then you have UK who contributed. Okay,
Yeah, they are leaving the party now because of
but
that, probably.
they're leaving. Okay, exactly.
And then it's the
Then you have
France.
then
Exactly.
you have France, Italy, Netherlands. Okay, and then you have some countries in the north like Sweden, Finland, but this is really small for them. For their budgets, it's probably a lot. And then you have a lot of countries who receive money. By the way, the biggest receiver is Poland, okay, by far.
Yeah.
And Romania, and so on and so on. Now, that is all right as long as this is a situation where there will be changes afterwards, where you do not do that the whole time, okay? On the other hand, even in a country like Germany, you have areas that are striving better and other areas that are striving less good. You have areas that are country, there's not much development, there's not much business there, there is not much taxes that are paid, and there are other areas where there is a high density of economic activity, of taxes paid, and so on and so on. So certain differences in one entity, and that entity is an European Union. That's normal. You know, it's not everywhere you have an area like in Frankfurt, Rhein-Main, or around Paris, or
Yes.
around Munich or something like that, or in northern Italy around Milan, where they had the COVID-19 problems.
Yeah.
But it's also the strongest economic region in Italy. So not everywhere in Europe you have such a situation.
No, I agree, but I hold a little bit different. Sorry for interrupting you there, but I think yes, when we talk within a country, when the betterment happens, it comes into the same pot which belongs to that country, right? I mean, in European Union, we see that pot coming back is not happening for a long time now, right? So
I have a very nice answer to that. You say if it is within the same country, it comes into the same pot. Who defined that that this is a country? Who defined this pot? Okay, so and that is a will of humans. Humans decided that this should be one country, and this is that pot in which we pay. And we are also able to decide the European Union is this one pot, and we pay into this one pot, which is European Union. Okay,
fair enough. Yeah.
and on the other hand, I agree with you in the long run that always someone is paying, and every time something is going wrong, it's the same people paying, and the other, that doesn't work. Okay, there has to be a sustainable development. And let me tell you one more point. I think because we are there at a crucial point of European Union, if we continue only having negotiations between national governments on these issues, I don't think it will lead somewhere. We need to have another way to addressing these issues where citizens are involved, where people are involved.
Exactly.
And this is a real European discussion. It's not one nation against the other one. If we have one nation against the other one, then one is going to lose, one is going to win. We need something different. It's not like a soccer game where one wants to win and the other is going to lose. It's more something like a teamwork that has to happen. Okay, where it's like and within the European Union, when it was created, all in the beginning, they developed something called the community method. The community method, the idea was to find out the common interest of the community of the European Union and try to develop that, and then bring forward proposals how to do more integration in the European Union. And then national governments would give their opinion on that. If you look at it now, it is national governments who try to make up their mind as a national government, discuss with other national governments, and that common interest of everybody doesn't exist anymore. This is something that has happened in the last 10, 20 years in the European Union. And I think we have to come back to this community method to look at the common interest and drive it forward in this way.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for sharing your opinion. I mean, now I'm looking more towards Kamalji. Kamal.
I continue. I think Klaus was sharing very knowledgeable insight into the EU, yeah, and how the community method developed. So in my view, still some, I call it parents, yeah. So it's like a family. I just take I'm bringing in the example from India. I think most of the states in India is also very different, but they are still together because it works like a family. Klaus was saying community, I just say family. In family, you have some people well-to-do, and in some people who may be dependent on those well-to-do, yeah, for one or the other thing, but they are also doing their jobs, yeah. I think what's happening, Germany helping Greece, very good gesture. Germany here, almost according to me, plays a role of like a senior member in the family who is doing well and want to put some good rules in the house, yeah. Now, what happens that these members also need to grow, because when the elder members start to, they will not be, I hope they continue well, but they will not be continuing at the same pace as they used to, because they need to balance. They need to balance the powers, the benefits in the family. So slowly they will start to look towards other member countries like Greece tomorrow, yeah. So Greece should also, or maybe Italy or any other country, Spain, who's facing problem today, they also should start to be self-dependent, self-reliant, and start to contribute back in the other way. Not today, but make a plan. It should not be a never-ending story. Yeah, maybe 10 years later, agree with the elder members of the union, like a family, and then put those rules so that you start contributing to your elder family members at some point of time. Yeah,
and exactly. I mean, this is something which I think is completely missing. That for a kid, for example, parents are responsible till they are 18 years of age. Yeah, and after that, the kid has to take care of themselves on their own. And this kind of time planning, like this is the time till which the countries will support each other, and after that they have to be self-dependent and take care of themselves. I think this kind of thing has to be brought across very clearly here. Klaus,
Raman, no, I agree totally. What is interesting, what Kamal said, the family method. Now, it's true, in a big family you have different situations, okay, and people support each other. There is a way how you discuss it within the family, but that is not the same way as you speak to the bank person where you try to take credit. Okay. So it's about this atmosphere, this way of how you talk to each other, this way of how you cooperate, okay? Going to ask for a credit in the bank is one thing, and having it in the context of the family is a totally different thing, I think. And that's what we have to work on. And of course it has to be done, okay? But if you do it again in the context of a family, it will be a completely different story than if you do it in like normal business, okay?
Yeah. No, I mean, even friends help each other from time to time. It's helping each other is not a problem, but it's just that only one way help continuing for years and centuries, you know, that's where the problem starts happening. So I think somewhere it's also, yes, EU as a concept is helping bringing all the nations who are stepping up in one way or the other. But somewhere we also have to have kind of a timeline in our mind. Like by this, we should see the nations using that money properly, bringing out the results that we are expecting it on. Like it should be also seen some kind of a bank investment kind of view. Like some pressure has to be there.
Yep.
It also brings the results at the end out, right? So that the money is used in a nice way and not some unexpected ways that are agreed with that. Now, and now looking towards Kamalji. Kamal, international communities, as I said, I mean, a lot of international people coming here in Europe and getting the European passports. How can they better inform themselves, and how can we initiate that the international communities start contributing towards EU more better? Any ideas from you here?
I think well said before by Klaus, by you, Raman. You have also asked very good questions since beginning. I think what we really need to know now, or we need to work on together, especially with Klaus and Europa Union Deutschland. I would speak about currently communities in Deutschland and Deutschland. So how should we connect? We give it to the Europa Union, as Klaus mentioned. We are trying to bring topics. People are sometimes accepted. Some people are known. Some people don't know. So I think there's a huge task to be done first on information flow to people reaching, and then from them, what are the needs to connect EU, and how can their voices matter? I think we need to find a way to vote. We need to find a way to sit together. We need to find a way to contribute, which Klaus has been running for a long time, and as a founder member of also Europa Union here in Deutschland, I would think it's best if also at this point Klaus actually takes this up and just suggests us how can we work together. I'm going to definitely, we are working on international communities to contribute to EU in Frankfurt, in Deutschland, and also at Brussels. But I request Klaus to add some information. How can we help you, and how can you help us, Klaus, at this point?
Yeah.
Raman? Okay. You know, people that come here to get a European passport, they come here for a reason, okay? And that reason has to do with how the system is running here. And it's a democracy. Not only Germany, but the whole of the European Union are democratic countries. And the democracy needs people to engage and fight for it, because otherwise it's gone. So when you come here to become a European citizen and you want it to stay this way, so then you have to be engaged and do something about it. At least inform yourself. I mean, for example, if you look at Facebook or Instagram, we have a profile there, Europa Union Frankfurt. Go there, check it out, find it out, start discussing with us, invite us to meetings. We will invite you. Everybody who wants can become a member in our organization. We have regular contacts with members of the European Parliament in Brussels on an everyday basis. That's very normal. We speak to people at the European institutions in Brussels. It's a fantastic, very international and very interesting world that you can discover. We do events where we discuss with people from all over Europe on issues. Now online, this is no problem at all, okay, with video conferencing, and that does happen, and it's something where people are excited. Everybody loves it, because it's your first chance to speak to people from so many different countries. Yeah. And this is where you can get engaged. You need a little bit to do about it. You know, it's like when you have a house, you move into a house. If you don't do anything about it, one day the roof will go off, and one day the windows will go off, and you don't live in a house anymore. And if you don't do a little bit engagement there, it's not more than just a little bit, then it won't work. Okay.
No, I think, Klaus, what you are saying in short is rights and duties go hand in hand. So people have the rights. At the same time, there are some duties associated with it. We need to be aware of our duties. We need to exercise our rights correctly. We need to perform our duties. I think that's very important. With this, again, thank you, Klaus. Thank you, Kamal, for joining. And we will definitely stay in touch. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Apna friend